Now, there's just a week to go before Concorde retires, and it's more popular than ever. Even if you have got the £4,500 to spend on a one-way flight, you can't buy one because they're all sold out. Thousands of enthusiasts are now lining the roads around Heathrow for a last glimpse of the world's only supersonic jet. And Andrew Winstanley got the golden ticket to New York.
A product of the 60s, when fashion was taking over, Concorde became the ultimate way to accessorise your life if you could afford it. Because this was the Ferrari of the skies, burning fuel like a jumbo but carrying only a quarter of the passengers. Flying at twice the speed of sound, passengers were touching the edge of space. Concorde was quite literally out of this world. And on board, luxury was always spelt with a capital L.
If you were asked for a drink, you wouldn't say, "I'll be with you in 5 minutes." You'd literally stop for whatever you were doing at the time and you'd disappear and you would bring the drink immediately.
I remember practising at home with a pile of napkins at home to pick it up with your little finger and thumb and then place it down in one swoop.
I think Concorde's always been special for me because ever since I was maybe 3 or 4, I had Concorde wallpaper in my bedroom at home. And I think every time I've seen it now, it's just such a fantastic aircraft to look at, and there's nothing else like it in the world.
Gordon Roxburgh's been addicted to everything Concorde since its maiden flight. He's got rare photographs, models and even his own website, catering to the constant international thirst for knowledge. He flew supersonic for the first time in March, documenting every second of his trip.
It was like touching space. You know, for one moment, if I had stood on the chair of the aircraft, I would have been the 3rd highest person in the world. Only the 2 astronauts up in the space station would have been higher than me.
The spotters are out in force every night now at Heathrow as time runs out. The latest rumour is captains are vying with each other for who can fly the lowest and fastest off the airfield. Whether that's true or not, this aircraft has certainly captivated the imagination for the last 3 decades. Why? Because it's so unique. If you touch the windows when you're flying supersonic, they're actually hot to the touch. And that's because of the huge friction on the aircraft skin at these speeds. Now, even the in-flight magazine, free to passengers, is selling on the internet £70 ago. The loss of Concorde will be keenly felt by almost all, but especially British Airways, which is losing its flagship, as well as an income stream that so far made it in the region of £750 million profit. So why is this plane being retired?
Good evening. An Air France Concorde crashed late this afternoon on the outskirts of Paris, killing all 109 people on board and at least 4 on the ground.
The Air France Concorde ran over a piece of metal on the runway. A tyre exploded, a piece puncturing the wing, causing a fuel leak that caught fire. In spite of the devastation, BA and their French counterparts spent around £100 million bringing the plane back into service, bulletproofing the fuel tanks and fitting burst-resistant tyres.
We'd hoped when we put Concorde back into service in 2001 that we would be able to effectively have her operate for something like 4 or 5 years. We felt that that was realistic and that we could get her back into service at that time, and the business case to return her to service was based on that length of time.
But the onset of the Iraq War meant at least one of the Concorde partners was in real trouble. The US rejecting anything French, and the loss of this vital market meant Air France had no option but to withdraw their fleet. That meant Airbus, who maintained the Concordes, would have to push up BA's costs to make the contract worthwhile.
The Concorde economics had deteriorated to a point where it was impossible to justify continued operation.
So BA's Concordes are heading for museums around the UK and in the US. You'll be able to see Concorde in a museum, but this plane is so much more than its fabric. It's cramped, it's noisy, it's a bit like a sports car, but it's in a luxury league of its own. This is R-Class, the equivalent of a 7-star hotel. The passengers who join the elite 11-mile high club have bought a unique experience, one they're never likely to forget.
Phenomenal. Really, it's just like unlike anything else we've ever sort of flown on.
I'm scared to death of flying.
You are, but you came nevertheless.
Things you do for love, you know.
And experts say the only way a son or daughter of Concorde will be worthwhile will be for it to fly above the Earth's atmosphere at even greater speeds. But that'll only be possible if technology moves on enough to allow a business case to be made. Still, back in the present, there's only one more week to go for Concorde, and its chapter in the aviation history book turns over. Andrew Winstanley, BBC London News.